Habari ma Africa. I remember voting for Black First, Land First. I think that's one of the parties that woke up black consciousness in me when they started. I was so thrilled to listen to Andile Mngxitama. I loved him so much. He really moved my focus away from the EFF into Black First, Land First. The language of which Black First, Land First was operating in, and the way mainstream media was hating them, and they ended up getting deregistered and everything. I loved that party with all my heart because of the president of Black First, Land First, Andile Mngxitama. The man when it comes to knowledge, the man when it comes to debate. He's simply one of the best in South Africa, if not the best black consciousness mind in politics right now. I want to get to this interview where he was with Mngxitama Mazwai, and Andile Mngxitama was just dropping bombs the whole interview in a podcast called Moya. I would advise that you go and watch the whole entire thing. I'm just gonna chop it up in pieces, and I want us to discuss that and much more.
Welcome to King Said So, Africa's one land, one language, one currency, one army on King Said So. Africans can unite. Your Pan-Africanist podcast. Enjoy.
Peace in Pan-Africanism to all my African brothers and sisters from all around the world. Welcome back to King Said So. I'm your host, Kagiso Tlongwane Zinchiva Sono, and we're back at it again with another one. And now I'm covering one of my favorite politicians, Andile Mngxitama. I've got two favorite politicians in South Africa. It's Andile Mngxitama and Mbuyisane Ndlozi. Flat. Those are my two favorite politicians, and they rank differently for me compared to Julius and Ubabagat Duduzane. They rank different when it comes to debate, knowledge, dropping and giving you wisdom and making you understand concept and grasp them in a different manner. Andile Mngxitama explains things the best for me. Without wasting any more time, let's hear what he says about this relationship between the ANC and the DA, especially in Parliament.
And girls, and you must see the ANC people inside Parliament, how they embrace whiteness, how they are fascinated by this white power. The camaraderie between them and the DA, it is just shocking. The ANC is represented by a defeated native.
Wow.
They are driven by slave mentality. They adore whiteness. And that is why we're in such a big trouble with this government. There's no way this government will serve the interests of black people. If you look at their body language, their demeanor, and how they defer to white power inside that parliament, it is shocking, and it is discouraging, and it is disappointing. And it just goes to show that black people without black consciousness are a problem.
Yeah.
They are wishy-washy, they don't know where they stand, and they adore whiteness. They adore whiteness. As I say, the government of national unity this president is Helen Zille. All these others are just still boys of Helen Zille. She runs that thing, she determines what must happen, and everybody falls into place. That is why they will never touch the land question, forget it. Or the mineral rights are not coming under this government of national unity. It is a white project, now reproducing itself with the help of the ANC to make sure that nothing changes.
When the ANC lost power and got 40%, I was one of those people who was just sure that the ANC is going to choose the EFF because the EFF got 9% and other small parties just to get over that 50 plus 1% mark. I never thought that the ANC would betray us to a level where they work with the Democratic Alliance. I knew there was a possibility it would happen, but I was simply saying, nah, but it cannot be. with the ANC having a president like Cyril Ramaphosa, it was always a possibility. But I thought there's in the camp of the ANC, people like Abu Panyaza and all of them will say, come on, guys, let's not betray our people. Guys, we have a problem that the ANC is the members of parliament of the ANC, according to Mngxitama, they adore each other with the Democratic Alliance. Our colonizers in parliament, they just adore. And this is the issue of saying a black politician without black consciousness, even just a black person without black consciousness, is a problem. What are those people going to articulate in terms of ideology of saving African people when they don't have black consciousness? Meaning they are not pan-African, they are not pro-black. Other races are pro their race. The Chinese are pro-Chinese. The Russians are pro-Russian. That's why those two people don't speak English. You get the Italians pro-Italian, the Germans pro-German, the Caucasian pro-Caucasian, the Afrikaner pro-African. You find the black people, especially the ANC, pro-everyone, multiracial, diverse, rainbow nation nonsense. It's only us when we have power, then we feel like, no, let's share the power with everyone else. When everyone else has got power, they consolidate and isolate everyone else and feed their own. Tina, I know we welcome everybody. That is the problem that we have. So that is the Andile is right to say the ANC under this government of national confusion will never touch the issue of land or the rights of minerals. They will never mention it, not even once, not even in passing. Not in a NEC meeting, not in a press briefing, not in a party. Nowhere will the ANC mention the issue of land. They can never breathe that sentence out of there. I challenge them. Maybe Panyaza can go crazy and say something, but the rest of the ANC will not say anything about the land. It's very sad what is happening in the ANC. Let's listen to what Andile Mngxitama says about agriculture and land when it comes to us getting our land back. Reparations, of course, yeah.
Went some of them to some extent into these farms, they got experience, they just need land access. That's all. But our government is unable to do even that basic thing because the land is in the hands of our lords. And this government is not going to touch them. What have we asked from white people, for instance, to say, in the last 30 years, you have not given us even just 30% of your land.
How are you going to give back? Like, can white people just tell us then how they intend to repair?
That is the call that we must make, that white people, don't talk to us. Talk about amongst yourself.
Yes.
How are you going to pay reparations for all this damage that you have caused and you continue to benefit from? Your children are benefiting and their children are going to benefit and their children. What are you contributing to reparations? That is a question that they must handle, they must deal with. We are not part of that thing.
Yes.
They, as white people, must have that conversation among themselves and not burden us with questions of what must we do, what must we do.
Yes. Because, Tina, when we come up with things and they get tense, so can they tell us themselves, Uti?
Or they must leave this country. I think those are the options that we must put on the table. You want to live with us? Show us reparations. Or go back where you came from because we're trying to sort out the mess, which is not of our creation.
Land. You guys know how much we talk about land in this channel. And I'm just going to tell you, when you have things like Paseta, we have agricultural schools, agricultural colleges, and of which most of them has closed in South Africa. In fact, I'm sure there isn't, we can't even count 10 in the entire country. I'm sure we can't even count, I'm sure we can't get to 10 in the entire agricultural colleges. Because if the government does not allocate land and farms, minerals, does not allocate a place where agricultural skills can be practically practiced, why have the agricultural schools? Do you understand what I'm saying? That is why they slowly phased out the agricultural schools out of the educational system, because they knew they don't have land. Guys, after 30 years, we have not got even 20%, 15% of the land. Even the statistics that tells us how much land we have as the department and how much land lies in white people is not accurate. Just imagine that. It's not accurate. I work for the Department of Agriculture, so I can tell you we don't have an accurate database, like square meter, hectare by hectare, that can tell you how much land we have in one province. We can't tell you. You can't tell. You can go and try. So a black child will always start at a disadvantage, whether it be economically, financially, physically, everything that a black child is born into. He's born into a place where he's disadvantaged already. So I like this concept to say, white people, we don't want to speak to you guys anymore about land. You guys speak to each other. And of which it's a funny suggestion to say, speak to each other and tell us, how are you guys going to do reparation? Because my father can't steal your father's car, and then my father dies and I inherit the car. And then you ask me, how am I supposed to get from point A to B without the car? And I say, but it's not me who stole the car, but I want to keep the car and benefit from the car. Can you guys understand the simplicity of that example? I cannot continue benefiting from the car my father stole from your father, and I play the victim card to say, I did not steal the car, but I'm keeping the land. I'm benefiting from the land. I know we're not radical enough, yo. And this issue of saying the white people must sit down and negotiate so that they can give us as if we're getting breadcrumbs off the table is nonsense. Because which country have they ever done that? Where they say, okay, take your land back, take this much back, we'll keep this much. Which country? It will never happen, man. Let's forget. Let's hear what Andile Mngxitama says about the Constitution.
Only thing that's going to help us, as long as we're trying to correct the injustices through this Constitution, we're using the tools of the master. And the tool of the master will never liberate the oppressed.
They wrote the Constitution
with their men. I don't think he was just fishing. You know, Rudolf Meyer taught him how to fish, and he was so fascinated with fishing. Rudolf was writing those clauses, and then he says, Cyril, clause number so says, he says, fine, my boss, I caught another one.
And they love to position him as a struggle icon now. You know, when they're like, no, Cyril fought for the miners.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is part of rewriting history. Ideas are very powerful things. And those who control the media, who control generation of ideas, are able to pacify the masses. Look at how our people literally believe Jacob Zuma is the most corrupt person in this country. How our people believe that the Guptas captured the state. The Guptas, who did not even have 5% of the control of ESCOM. They did not have 5%. Forget about the national economy. The national economy is controlled by Stellenbosch. But they were able to generate so much hatred and to present them as the real enemy and to get off President Zuma. And, I was in Mhlobowinene 3 years ago. The amount of flack I got for defending President Zuma was incredible. Our people have internalized the position of white thinking. Yeah. They were reproducing white thought. They were reproducing the propaganda of the white media. Our people. So they became agents of white power unwittingly. From thinking that they're educating themselves, they're getting information. But the way it is packaged, it makes sure that you become an agent of the white system.
I don't know how to say it. I've said it a million times. Andile is saying it. These constitutions will never fully liberate us as Africans. I don't know what makes you think by adjusting, amending, section, whatever, it will liberate us. This constitution has given judges supreme power over the constitution. If you didn't know, the judges control this country. That's why the DA is fighting so much to keep people like our Dr. John Shope out of anything that has to do with judges. That is what is happening. So for me, I'm with that understanding that an idea is a very powerful thing. If we don't put an idea into the next generation, white media is doing that job for us with mainstream media. They are doing it. They are planting a job. You ask any South African who's not politically conscious or black conscious, you ask them who is the most corrupted president in South Africa, 90% of them will say Jacob Zuma. Those who don't follow, King said so. And you ask them, why are you saying Jacob Zuma? They will say the Guptas. But if you ask a little bit deeper, why the Guptas? They don't know that the Guptas was only supplying 3.something% of the coal in Eskom. They don't know. They don't know that the Guptas was not controlling anything. Transnet, Eskom, they were not controlling anything monetary value. They were trying, yes, of course, and we support it because power was shifting from our colonizers back into our hands. But you people don't want the power in our people's hands. So the media perpetuated the narrative that Jacob Zuma is the most corrupt president in the entire world, and you guys beat on that, and you never let go. Even still today, people hate Jacob Zuma for no particular reason. They can't tell you why. They just hate him because he's corrupt, because of Nkandla, he's doing everything. They will forgive everything that happened in Palapala. They will forgive anything that happened during apartheid, but they can't forgive this thing. Even when you point the facts out, you can say, guys, look at Zuma's term and look at the Cyril Ramaphosa's term. Look at the 9 wasted years and look at how much petrol was, bread was, cost of living, inflation, unemployment, crime, everything. You tell them, they still will not listen because the mainstream media has brainwashed our people so much that they can't think. You remember what I said? The education system and television is there to tell a vision, to force our people to tell them what to think and take away that spirit of thinking, of self-thinking alone. Buffett is very dangerous. When he said the greatest weapon in the oppressor's hand is the oppressed mind, it broke my heart.
And Biko teaches us again that the most potent weapon in the hands of the oppressor is the minds of the oppressed. It's not the gun, it is not the jail. The most potent weapon in the hands of the oppressor is the minds of the oppressed. And they are doing everything to make sure that they control our minds. And the nice thing about mental slavery is that you believe it's your thoughts. When you hate Zuma, you believe you are originally thinking this. So you become an agent against your own interests unwittingly. But that is the power of whiteness, and they understand this, and that is why also how easy it is to create black on black situations. Part of that mental slavery, which is about self-hate as well. It is so easy for white people to simply say the problem, Amagweregwer. And then Stellenbosch is running that project.
I know.
Rob Herzog was the biggest supporter of Operation Tudula at the beginning. Herzog wants us to focus on the immigrant and not to focus on Stellenbosch. And then we fight with the immigrant for what? To be waitresses and waiters. So they are reducing our desire for freedom to mere survival, where we are fighting at the bottom, unable to look up and see how much wealth is there at the top. So they are very successful in making sure that they utilize the black anti-blackness, which is the product of colonialism, to perpetuate their system of white power. We are easily turned against one another. They know this, And that's why even the political system, they're creating many political parties which are going to fight amongst themselves and not consolidate black power. And the white system perpetuate itself. They know, I mean, the destruction of the black mind, which of course comes with colonialism. You know, when colonialists are...
Let me say it again. Andile said it. I want to say it again. And think about it when I'm saying it. The greatest weapon in the hands of the oppressor is the mind of the oppressed. Now ask yourself why we want to build Paseta. Just ask yourself why we want to get into the minds of the next generation. Just imagine what type of seeds we want to plant in the minds of the next generation. Ask yourself why so many people want to stop Paseta. There's things that are happening even in the background that I don't even tell you guys because we're strong like that. It's other things we must face them. There's things that are happening, but I'm going to tell you almost all of these things. But the mind of the next generation is so precious to me. I don't want to leave it in the hands of our colonizers. This black on black violence that we have, this Afrophobia that we have. I can even make an example with Chidima. When I say Chidima, you get angry that Chidima's mother has stolen an identity, apparently. Some say, no, she did not steal an identity. She registered Chidima fraudulently. Okay, whatever. I'm going to ask one question. In your mind, answer that question and see how long it's going to take you to answer that question. Are you ready for the question? Who gave white people citizenship in our land? Yeah, you can think about it as long as you want. The more you think about it, the more you realize the system we are in. The more you think about who gave the Dutch, the British, the Portuguese, the Italians, the French, the Belgians, the Germans, citizenship here in Africa. If you can answer that question, you will understand who's the real foreigner in our land. You will understand clearly. But you ask that question, the black mind is the one that protects the system. That's man, don't go so back. We're not king, you like changing the topic. We are speaking about Chidima. We are speaking about citizenship. Who gave them citizenship? If Chidima's mother stole her citizenship, né? If she did, who gave them? Didn't they do the same? Didn't they create the citizenship system? You tell me. You tell me. Because now we are at a point where we are so colonized. We fight for the jobs in the farm. We fight for the jobs in the farms, in the factories. But we don't want the ownership of the farm. We don't want the ownership of the factory. Where have you seen black people going around Operation Tutula saying we want the factory, not the jobs, not the Zimbabwean jobs, not the Nigerian jobs, not the checkers 30 minutes or whatever they call it, 60, whatever. Not those things, but the ownership of supermarket. Who have you had? It brings me to my next topic of clever blacks.
I know we are the clever blacks, definitely, but what do you do then when you are faced with a situation where you've got a family to feed? Because that's what's affecting the clever blacks. Is that, guys, excuse me, I'm in Sandton, I'm in my BMW, my child goes to Red Hill. Like, please do not interfere with this nice life that I've put together. That's the problem.
You see, Steve Biko says that if white people were clever, that's his direct quote, if white people were clever, they would allow 30% of black people into whiteness whilst keeping 70% out. I think that by 1994, the National Party and the Broederbond, they have figured out that to maintain white power, allow this 30% into the white system whilst you're keeping out the black majority. Not only that, whilst you allow these 30%, they'll become the bodyguards that maintain the system on our behalf. So, for instance, when we fight now, we fight against black people, we fight against black political parties. I mean, even Ramaphosa is the big problem, but he's just a bodyguard of the system. The system is not part of the conversation. That's how clever the white system is. It has made itself invisible. And people don't know Johann Rupert, they don't know the Oppenheimer family, the Manels. The real owners of this economy are not known by our people. Our people simply know Ramaphosa, we're fighting Ramaphosa, or we're fighting Zuma. The white system has made black people super visible as the problem. I mean, take corruption.
The clever blacks, for me, also is they're miseducated. Those who think they're educated are the miseducated, because our educated blacks are the ones that protect the system more than the system itself, more than the people who created the system. Think about it. Those who think they have made it out of the hood, they stay in town, because the system allows some to get in, so that it can seem as if the rest are lazy. The rest don't want to study enough. The rest don't have money to study, or whatever the case can be. But the system is there to say, look at King made it. If King could make it, what's wrong with you? Why don't you work hard? While their people are not working hard, they are born in a place of privilege, and privilege propels them to higher positions. Ask the people who work in the private sector, their bosses, their white bosses, what is their qualification? Just ask around, and you will see. In fact, we don't even have to go to private sector. We see it in government now. Few matriculants leading departments that have got budget of millions. A matriculant, it's okay. It's fine. You know? So for me, it's crazy how the system has allowed it, like that 30%. Those who have studied enough, those who have worked hard enough to get in. And now those ones, the system has programmed them to protect the system. How heartbreaking is that? So now when we want to fight the system, we must first fight the African brother, the African president, the African mayor, the African police, the African, not understanding that the system has placed these people there as obstacles to before we can get to the system. Go and watch The Matrix, people. Go and watch The Matrix. I love what Andile Mngxitama says about 500 years, 50 years, 100 years, because I've always said it also. If we do nothing now, nothing will change in 500 years. Nothing.
We really have to pause and think, where are we? Where are we going? If we don't do that pausing and thinking and just be in this treadmill, another 50 years, we will have people talking the way we are discussing this matter. 50 years will come, 100 years will come, 500 years. In fact, I want to write a message to black people 500 years from now to say, how are you doing, black people? Have you been able to get your land back? Have you been able to get your dignity back? Have you been able to get your country back? Who is ruling over you 500 years from now? If we don't do something, 500 years from now, we will remain slaves. Actually, we must start there. We are slaves in our own country.
Yeah.
This country is not in our hands.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm in parliament. I'm a member of parliament. What are we parliamentarian there?
No, you're just part of the group of people who talk too much, and then the system is giving you nice salaries. And
I've always told you guys on my channel about the great distraction. We are always distracted week by week by something as black people. So we never sit and reflect. Every week without fail. Is Chedima this? Is EFF dead? Is MK this? Is corruption dead? Is this one went there? Is soccer dead? Is an accident here? Is everything is happening while the other people are busy building We are busy watching the news and watching our lives go past us without even being aware. We never sit and reflect with Emana. It's been 30 years. Look at where we are. So if there was a teacher of mine that loved saying, nothing changes when nothing changes. And we were thinking ourselves just talking nonsense. When we grew up, we understood what he meant. Insanity is repeating the same thing but expecting different results. Nothing changes if nothing changes. That's why we build in Paseta. Nothing will change if nothing will change. If me and you don't stand up and do something, nothing will change. So Andile is right in saying he can write a letter to 500 years from now and ask those African people 500 years from now. I wonder how a South African will be described at that time. I wonder how many people would have taken over our country 500 years from now. Because if nothing changes, nothing changes. You don't want to participate in Paseta. You don't want to even subscribe to a channel. You don't want to even promote it. If nothing changes, nothing changes. I know when you're okay. I know you're driving a nice BM, you're staying in a nice town, you've got Wi-Fi, you don't buy data, you're okay. You're okay. I know you sorted. But I'm telling you, if your next generation is not as strong as you, they will suffer forever. If nothing changes, nothing changes. It's up to us, the current generation. Because I don't believe in writing the letter to the 500 years from now and asking them, did you get the land? Did you get the land? Did you know? I don't. I want to write a letter to say, hey, in our time, this is what we did. Here's the proof. Here's the institutions. Here's the buildings. Here's the streets. Here's the hospital. This is what we built. Guys, start from here. Don't start where we started at zero. Start from here. If nothing changes, nothing changes. So it's either we build Paseta or we watch the other people build institutions and we complain. It's either we build Paseta and we can program the minds of our children, or we allow our children to go to the best white schools and the best private schools and they get programmed there. And we wonder why our generation there's no black consciousness, there's no respect to African spirituality, there's no African tradition, culture, there's no respect to anything that is African, because we take our children in their developmental stage and give them to our press and say, can you please educate them? Then we complain why our children are this. Our children are taking drugs, it's becoming fashionable. Our children are getting lost in social media. Our children are addicted to porn. Our children don't know how to respect teachers. Our children are not self-motivated to do homework. They don't enjoy their school curriculum. They don't enjoy anything. It's up to me and you. If nothing changes, nothing changes. You understand what I'm trying to say to you? So I enjoy listening to Andile Mngxitama so much. I enjoy. But I wanted to speak more about what Usisinsiki was interviewing Andile on. But please go on Moya and watch the whole thing there, because it's a beautiful interview. In fact, this is part 2. Because Andile can't speak for 1 hour. Andile speaks forever. So I'm asking you, my African people, we are trying we are building the Pan-African School of Economics, Technology and Agriculture. We have refused funding from other races, companies that are not African. We refused. We said we want to build this school from African money. We are asking you, please, if you are working, if you do have a spare 50 rand, spare 20 rand, a 15 rand and even a 10 rand, because numerically we are a lot as African people. If we can just have you contribute to the school and we do a great job there at the school to make you proud, so that we can secure the future of the next generation. We're asking, if you can, please donate to the school. Please donate to the school. I will remind you guys again, March 2024, the posters and everything will come out in terms of the event that we'll be doing, the fundraising. I'll be happy to see you in Kimberley. March 2024, I'll be happy to see you personally in Kimberley, to meet some of you guys personally in Kimberley at the event where we'll be doing our fundraising during the day and the gala dinner at night. We need serious partners to build the school. You understand what I'm saying? But I believe in you guys. I believe in you Africans. Since we started this Paseta dream 3 months ago, with the team, with the website, with funding the land, with everything, we have not taken a misstep so far. I believe in you guys. 3 months of Paseta, we already have the land. We're already starting to build. I'm so happy. I'm so happy with the progress that we're doing. Imagine where we are going to be 1 year from now if we keep on doing the little that we are doing. Me and you doing the little that we are doing. I'm so happy, guys. I'm so happy. So may God bless each and every one of you. May your ancestors speak to your heart. Some of you, I know you can do more. Some of you, I know you are well off. Call us. Here's our WhatsApp numbers. Send us a WhatsApp. Let's speak business. Let's talk how you can contribute to the schools, you know. But so far, so good, African people. So far, so good. Until we meet again, don't forget to pray. After you pray, stand up, African child. Do your best so that God can do the rest. Peace and Pan-Africanism. I salute you.